All right. So, as always, I profess my sins by mouth. Honesty is pretty fucking important. Eli Friend is a witness to a situation that's recorded where a 14-year-old girl had to run away to flee abuse at home. He also knows one of the predators that I had at Northwest Senior and Disability Services. Because of that, he knows her name. Now, she did speak with him next to me while I was recording. You can hear her voice. She's homeless now, too. What did I say I hoped would happen to those people? I said I hoped they'd have to live through it. So one of those women at Northwest Senior and Disability Services who works there, she still works there and she's homeless. Good luck with that. She also said that Eli is the only person that knows she's homeless. Well, she was sitting right next to me when she fucking said it, and I was recording, so the whole world knows. They just don't know her name. Eli Friend does. He also let me know that the abuse from the stepfather was ongoing. There was also abuse from, I don't know if he's her adopted father or what, but the name that he gave for the father and the name that he gave for the 14-year-old girl, their last names are the same. And I did post up their names. I had to. That little girl deserves justice, and she deserves to not have to live in fear of the man. And shame on her mother for doing what she did. Now, Officer Reeves assaulted that 14-year-old girl, and then badgered me, and then Officer Sadler did the same. I attempted to turn in the situation to the police officer as soon as he arrived about how that sheriff's department employee, Officer Reeves, had assaulted that girl and that I had it recorded. The way those officers interacted with me was highly inappropriate and unprofessional. They didn't assault me, they assaulted a 14-year-old girl who was trying to flee abuse. Eli Friend got in trouble for witness tampering. See, that's why he pled no contest. Now, I haven't heard his story, but I believe that he has the right to tell it. Now, here's the thing. There's this thing called double jeopardy, which means they can't charge him twice. He pled no contest. He's paying his dues. If he really raped her, then he's not paying his dues. And he's never going to because of that double jeopardy law. Now, if they find out that there was another crime that was committed at the same time, they can charge him with that. Or they can manufacture something. Here in Tillamook, that's their MO. How do I feel about Eli? Well, he was honest about that situation, even knowing what it meant, and even knowing I was recording. What he actually said was to look his name up. Now, here's the important part. Officer Reeves has harassed him on at least 5 or 6 occasions, according to Eli, since the assault of that 14-year-old girl. Eli also claims that he was friends with her. He might even know the name of the 2 girls that were with her that were trying to turn in the stepfather as well, explaining that that 14-year-old girl was fleeing abuse. Eli said that was on or around October 16th of last year, and that Officer Reeves has repeatedly done this to him. He did this outside a Safeway just last week, I believe, a little over a week ago. It might have been longer than that. Jesus, one day is fucking shitty as the next. I try to pretend to be happy and make jokes and shit. That's not how I feel. The thing about suicide prevention is that it starts by finding out why the person is suicidal to begin with and doing something about that. When you don't listen to the victim, you don't ask them why it is, or you won't let them tell you, you're doing horrible things. Eli is a grown goddamn adult. I've got his number. Why am I not posting it up? Why am I not posting it up and saying, hey, this guy absolutely is? Well, because of the no contest plea. I know what that means. What that means is they didn't have anything to convict him on. Now, as far as witness tampering goes, even with witness tampering, it still doesn't mean that you're guilty. You know what is considered witness tampering in the United States? Let me tell you about a guy who was charged with witness tampering. Fuck, what was his goddamn name? Fuck it. The story is what's important here. There's a guy I know that was charged with a crime, and I don't know if he was guilty or not. But one of the woman who was having the issue with him, some of her friends were not very nice. And one of her friends had been a witness to a situation. Whether it was true or not, I'm not here to judge. But the woman saw this guy walking down Pearl Street Mall. Lots of people do that. Lots of people congregate. Now, he was angry with her over a situation where she had literally been harassing him and threatening him and screaming in the street at him previously. And she walked up to him and started doing literally that same exact thing right there on Pearl Street. And he cursed at her. And he got charged with witness tampering. He got locked up immediately. Immediately. I just wish I could remember the dude's name. Oh, what he said was, keep my goddamn name out of your mouth. That's what he got charged with witness tampering for. When she was fucking screaming at him on the Pearl Street Mall, what he said to her was, keep my name out of your goddamn mouth. And they charged him with witness tampering, saying he was trying to intimidate her into not speaking on the stand. No, she fucking straight up tried starting a fight with him on Pearl Street. She was a stupid cunt for that. What she did was predatory. So at the Safeway, about a week or so ago, Eli is out there, and Officer Reeves gets out in a very angry tone. You can just hear the hatred in his voice. He sees Eli, and he yells at Eli to stop and tells Eli that Eli has a warrant for his arrest. And both of those officers, because there was two of them there, Officer Reeves and one other, Sheriff's Deputy Reeves and one other, and they were harassing him at the Safeway. Now, jurisdiction, don't they keep playing this jurisdiction thing? Well, apparently both the Sheriff's Department, the state troopers, or state patrol, whatever you want to call them, the state police, the Sheriff's Department, and the Tillamook Police Department all have Safeway as their jurisdiction. All of them. It turns out that Mike Reeves harassed that young man for no reason. There was no warrant out for his arrest. What Mike Reeves was doing was witness tampering. What Deputy Reeves did was witness tampering. Just like Scott DaCosta was witness tampering. Many people wanted to do that with me as well. Tampering with a witness is a pretty serious charge. How many officers here have done that? How many officers in Hood River? Also, systemic abuse. All of these officers, literally every single one of them, as well as all of these people that are mental health workers, can be charged with systemic abuse. Tomorrow's Sunday. We already know what goes on the weekends. Well, I guess it would be today that's Sunday now, wouldn't it? Yep, 1:59 in the morning. I'm not sure how much sleep I'm gonna get. I did not see Chris Stafford tonight. Hopefully he got arrested. As far as Amanda goes, I hope she gets justice. As far as Eli goes, he can still take these guys to court, civil court, over the crimes that they committed against him in order to force a no contest plea. Now here's what goes on with that. See, for Eli, he's not going to get more time. They can't do it because of the double jeopardy laws. But he can get his name cleared by going through the civil courts and suing the living fuck out of these pieces of shit. Now, they are pieces of shit whether he's guilty or not. Eli Friend is a witness to the assault against that 14-year-old girl. He has also been harassed, threatened, and or intimidated by that 14-year-old girl's stepfather on multiple occasions, same as me. So, I am reserving my judgment because of the lack... Give me a second. Because of the lack of a guilty plea, and also the severity with which they slapped him on the wrist. Eli Friend also knows that I record everything, and there are certain things that he doesn't want recorded, and I can understand that. And I tell him, if you don't want it recorded, don't tell me. Don't tell me your secrets, I will not keep them. Isn't that nice of me? Sometimes people just can't help themselves. They have to come tell me something. So what do? They'll ask me if I'm recording, and if I say no, then they'll blurt it out real quick. Alright, what else? I did get everything cleaned up quite a bit. It could definitely be cleaned up quite a bit more. There's still no room for anybody in my passenger seat. As far as Eli Friend goes, he is a witness. He also works there, and he might even recognize the voice of the woman in the video who screamed, "Hey, he just slammed her on the ground." The lady was fucking pissed at that fucking cop, too. Now, that happened within the city, so it doesn't matter. It wasn't his jurisdiction. That was not that wasn't Sheriff's Deputy Reeves' jurisdiction. And that harassment, according to Eli, that is not the first time that he was harassed by Reeves. When Reeves and the other officer noticed that I was there with my camera pointing it at him, they stopped yelling at Eli. And a few minutes later, they turned around and they fucking left. No warrants. That's just a dirty trick that dirty cops use when they want to fucking harass you, threaten you, and fucking intimidate you. When they want to try to force you into a state of panic and fear so that you can't communicate correctly or properly and your words don't come together right. Thank goodness I pulled out my camera and pointed it at those son of a bitches. If Eli takes them to court, and he does have enough evidence to convict, just so you know. He definitely has enough evidence to convict Officer Reeves. Deputy Reeves. He also has enough evidence to convict that 14-year-old girl's stepfather for witness tampering, for threats, harassment, and intimidation, for stalking. These people sure know how to play victim. These people want to be angry that I record. Well, you know what? They can kiss my ass. And I started writing down on a piece of paper the stuff that I need to turn into acting sheriff, the lieutenant, what the fuck ever his name is. Now, I'd like to meet him in person so I know whether or not he's one of the officers that I've already spoken with. Because if he's one of the officers I've already spoken with, then he has broken the law already. And that's good news for me. I will be making sure that I post up the names. There's probably about 10 of them there already. What they did. And that's so that the officers can actually interview each and every one of those people and places. After they've done their interviews, or before they've done their interviews, they can review the recordings that I've made with those individuals and hear what those individuals had to say at the time. And if the statements that they give don't match the statements that they told to me, well, that means that the lieutenant, who's the acting chief here, and I'm sorry if I keep saying sheriff, because in Dula County there's only the sheriff's department. There is no police department. Now, Eli could actually bust open this whole thing nationwide just because of one situation with Officer Reeves. A situation where Officer Reeves chose to be stupid in front of me. A situation where, Deputy Reeves. A situation where Deputy Reeves assaulted a 14-year-old girl in public, out of jurisdiction, and then conspired with people from TFCC to have that girl committed, knowing that herself and at least 2 others in the parking lot were attempting to turn in that 14-year-old girl's stepfather. In October of last year. That 14-year-old girl, the abuse that she's gone through needs to be addressed before she starts cutting on herself, because nobody will listen. She needs to have justice instead of having to look over her shoulder every day. I'm focusing primarily on the stuff that happened literally here in Tillamook. I'm writing down the names of witnesses to the actual situations, the officers who were at those situations. There's a lot of names on there, like Dallas Palmer, the entire Scudder family. Caleb from Fred Meyers is an important one. I'll tell you what I got wrote down so far. Alright, so I got separate categories. Harassers, witnesses to crimes your cops fucked up, agencies committing fraud. There's a lot more crimes than that. Once an officer decides that he's going to investigate it, or she. One of the categories is called mandated reporters, one is called victims, and one is called people who tried to bully me to move. Now, there's a lot of different crimes involved in every single one of these people, but the part that I focused on the most was witnesses to the crimes your cops fucked up. Now, category 1, all I have so far is harassers, 503-500-2043. and Vicky Rain. And under witnesses to the crimes your cops fucked up, Jason Scudder, Kara Scudder, Scott Scudder, Jared Scudder, Dallas Palmer, Karan Rhodes, Caleb, who's the manager at Fred Meyer's. Also, because that crime was committed within city limits, yes, the police department is well within their powers and responsibility to investigate that crime, especially when that crime involves witness tampering, threats, harassment, intimidation. Threats, harassment, and intimidation, and abusing his position as a law enforcement officer as an excuse to do it. If Eli Friend takes these people to court and wins, then there will be charges pressed against those individuals because the law requires it in the state of Oregon. Now, if that turns up some dirty enough shit, then Eli might be freed based on the fact that they literally didn't have a case. I want you to consider this. In June of 2022 is when this rape was supposed to have been committed. Yes, I looked it up on the internet. In June of 2022 is when this rape was supposed to have been committed. He pled no contest to it. And he's only getting 2 years of probation. On a no contest plea. I wouldn't call him feeble-minded, but he is for certainly short-sighted and naive. He's easy to manipulate. I do my best to try to educate him because the thing is, when Officer Trent Olson showed up to talk to him, because that's the one officer that Eli said that he trusted. But as soon as Trent Olson showed up, he automatically reverted to lying to Eli. With me standing right there. He gave bad legal advice to Eli. Anyway, I'm going to end this video because I'm tired as fuck. Nobody has harmed me tonight. I didn't hear a single person scream the N-word out their window. I didn't see a single one of those youngins congregating in the parking lot or making messes. I didn't hear the N-word out of any of them tonight because they just simply weren't here to do it. Another thing is, it's pretty important to get back to finding the missing people that I came here to Oregon to find. David and Katie Saltzman are still missing. There are multiple peoples who offered to help me that ended up going missing, and nobody gives a fuck. There's a lady who is trying to help me to turn in that missing persons report, because if I do it alone, I'll just get blown off. But there's a really messed up situation going on here. And my constant state of fear makes it impossible to function in public. That's what you don't understand. I'm afraid of people. I'm afraid of them because of how they treat disabled people, especially disabled homeless men. I'm scared of how the term mentally ill is used to deprive human beings of their rights under the Constitution. I'm pretty tired. Now I'm just rambling. Because there's a lot to say, but I'm so physically and mentally exhausted that I just hope I'm enunciating the full words. There's also the situation of the jurisdictional boundary between Tillamook and Astoria. That might seem like an unimportant piece of information, but if you do watch all of my videos, like some of you seem to, good night.